10-minute low back rebuild. This is probably the simplest way to start alleviating pain in your low back that I have found that has been the most efficient in just a simple amount of movements. Okay, as displayed here, I hope you guys can see. I know there's some glaring, but first things first, I got this from Low Back Ability, so I'm just going to explain all of these movements and then basically demonstrate them for you, and then you can do 1 to 3 sets. That's a good example that you can do on an off day or a mobility day or maybe even an upper day that you still want to get blood flow into the low back. Okay, so gentle nerve flossing. I got this from Low Back Ability. If anybody's seen his page, yeah, really, really good stuff. Go check him out, Brendan Backstrom. Very, very simple way to just get some nerve flossing, he calls it. Basically just working the sciatic nerves up and down the low back in a very, very simple way. You've probably done it maybe at a physical therapy or something like that. But that's the beginning stage. Then I like to get into some pigeon push-ups, working the outer glute, as you'll see. Then a horse stance squat hold for 30 seconds or a butterfly times 15 reps. So you can do either or, but they go hand in hand with just opening up the groin. Then we work the elephant walk. You guys know that one, right? Alternating both sides, opening up the mid to lower hamstring. Split squat hold times 30 seconds. You want to be very, very intentional with these holds, okay? The form has to be key, and you just want to be focusing on opening the back hip flexor. Back extension isometric, okay, times 1 minute double leg or times 30 seconds single leg. You can do both or one or the other. Then you get into slow and short range, slow, short to long range reps of back extension. So 6 to 10 reps is a good goal to get to. Now I'm just going to demonstrate this to show, what is the optimal way of doing this and what approach can you take from someone who maybe is dealing with chronic low back pain and any movement feels or seems too scary. So I'll just show the most beginner variations and then work my way up with every single movement and show you the scalability. But this is literally a 10-minute routine that you can do to start minimizing the amount of pain that you're having, whether you have sciatica or any pelvis pain, low back flare-ups, herniated disc. This is something that you can just start at your level. So I'll take you guys through it. I'm just going to turn the camera around and show you guys what it looks like. So to start you guys out with nerve flossing, okay, so if you guys have any pain sitting, this is probably the easiest way to start getting out of it, okay. Basically, you just want to lie on the ground. Everything is relaxed, okay. All you want to think about is here, and you follow your head with your toe and come up and down. And if you don't feel anything here, you go higher and higher until you do, and you want to feel it up and down this chain here, okay? So you can start here, and it goes higher, and then eventually you want to get to a point where you can get here, going down and coming up. Just getting some blood flow to that nerve in the lower back. I like to get 8 reps. So think about it, I'm flexing and looking up, and then I'm extending and looking down. And you can play around with this at every single range. Next thing to get into is the pigeon push-up. The easiest way to get into this is to just start at that 90-90 position. Okay, if that feels too uncomfortable, then you can go into an incline bench variation. I can clip that up and show it on the screen here, okay? The only thing you want to think about is 1, hands here going directly over the knee, until you feel that stretch. Once you feel it, press back up. So if it's just right there, just work at that level, just going up and down. The goal is to get to a point where you can get deeper and deeper with the chest touching the knee and then pressing back up. Now I'm using assistance with my hands. You can use less assistance as you progress. Okay, but for most beginners, just starting here and working till you feel that stretch and then pressing back up will create that everlasting mobility that we're looking for. Okay. So that's the pigeon push-up. I like to get 15 reps each side. So horse stance squat, this is going to open up the groin. We're in a wide stance. We get into this deep pose right here, and we push against our elbows, and we sink into the bottom and keep the chest up. So we just want to play around here. We can shift between sides, and you just want to feel this open up. But what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing against my elbows and just sinking into this bottom position with my chest up. If that's too much, instead of the horse stance squat, we can work the resisted butterfly. So the point is with this is that you want to think about keeping your back arched, butt is fully against the wall, chest is up, push down, feel that stretch, press back up against my hands. So I go down and I actually think about squeezing my glutes, and then pressing back up against my hands. So I'm actually stretching and then strengthening my groin area. So that's the focus there. Eventually you want to get to a point where you can get deeper and deeper and deeper like this, and then pressing and resisting against it. You want to think about, though, having the low back not touching the wall and actually arching your back. Thinking about getting as deep as you can, pressing back up against your hands. You can get 15 reps there, or that 30-second hold in the horse stance squat. Right. So now we want to get into the elephant walk. Okay, now this can start at the most beginner levels. From right here, all we're doing is keeping feet even, shoulder width. Make sure that you don't have one foot naturally out here. Feet close. I like to keep my toes in a bit, hands on here. This is the most beginner level. Bend both knees, extend one leg out. Feel that stretch from the hamstring to the glute. Bend again. Same thing, feel the stretch. And you want to continuously work this movement until you can get to lower levels with much less assistance of yourself. You just want to be able to hang down here and rep this movement comfortably. But you want to spend time feeling the stretch on both sides, getting as deep as we can, and then eventually we can get to that point of getting palms to floor. So that's the elephant walk. Regardless of whatever level you're at, just get 10 reps both sides, spending time in that extended position. Next, we're going to get into a split squat hold, okay? Now again, this can start at the most beginner level, okay? So foot here, heel is away from me, facing away from me every time, okay? I want to keep my front heel down, and I want to get it. So you can use a box, bench, whatever. Get as deep as I can, keeping this heel down, and focusing on keeping that back leg straight and my chest and chin up. Getting the most knee over toe that I possibly can to focus on opening that back hip flexor. So I want to spend time just getting a stretch there for 30 seconds on both sides. Sinking down into the bottom position, keeping this ankle down, not coming up so much, and getting that back leg as straight as possible is the key, while keeping that heel facing out. Now again, this is more beginner level. A good standard to get to is going here and holding this position like this. Opening that back hip as much as I can, feeling that stretch up and down my lower hip to mid-back. 30-second hold is, at whatever level you can get, is the goal you want to get to. Now we're getting into the back extension. So first things first is just holding an isometric. You want to make sure your hips are above this. We're holding an isometric right here in that place, in that angle where we already have tension in the low spine and the glutes. And we're just holding here for a minute. So a minute hold just to think about the lower back and the erectors and the glutes and the hamstrings firing in that tension, right? I want to be in that 45-degree angle, and we're holding just for a minute here. Then you want to work to getting single leg 30-second hold in that same position. So spending time here, thinking about building unilateral balance, addressing some of the areas that may have been weak because you were compensating between sides. This is the point, is holding these positions. So once we feel comfortable getting 30-second hold on single leg and then a double leg 1 minute hold, we can get into slow and controlled short to long range reps. So what do I mean by that? 6 to 10 reps. Okay. I'm actually gonna take the mic off and put it on this thing. Should work better. So I'm going down. That's the first rep. That's what I mean by short to longer range. And you want to keep hamstrings locked out to force you to actually use the hamstrings and glutes and low back to keep you up. Because if I bend, then I end up using the lower hamstring, and I want to target the low back. So we're trying to get as deep as we can. Okay, good. I'm at the mid-range. Then I get a little bit deeper. If I have to use assistance, this is okay. And that is the idea, is that you continuously get longer ranges until you can get that 10th rep. Making sure we're keeping the hamstrings locked out to focus on actually squeezing from the low back as we come up. You want to do this with double leg or single leg depending on your variation or what level you're at, what feels comfortable. Right? Starting at that short range and then building up to longer ranges. And when you squeeze and come up, you don't want to fire up and then get this position right here. You want to come up just with the hamstring locked out and get back to that angle of tension. You're going to have the whole posterior chain and low back fire. That's what you're looking for 6 to 10 reps. Now that is the 10-minute low back rebuild. This is probably the simplest way to alleviate a ton of pain, start getting blood flow, start strengthening the area, building mobility around it. I hope this helps. If you have any questions or if you try this out and it helps you, please comment. Let me know how it goes. As always, stay locked in.